When you're talking about risk to an organization, one bypass for one application in one scenario is not something I want to invest in. All right, so Java. So we've dealt with all buffer overflows and heap overflows, right? All that's done. EMET protects us against all of that, right? It's not an end-all be-all, but it does a really good job. So what about Java? Java's kind of dead, so I can actually skip a lot of things. But the reason why I want to talk about it a little bit is we're going back to that dirt road mentality. Me as an attacker, when I do a phish, and Java was still prevalent a couple of years ago, right? When I do a phish, I see the first user agent come across as this browser. Cool. Anyone tell me what this browser is? Anyone know what a user agent is? One person in the room knows what a user agent is. Okay, we're going to go really well here. So this, someone say Firefox? No. Internet Explorer 8.0. Everything is Mozilla. WoW 64. That means it's 64, 32-bit. Now we got trolls. .NET. It tells me tons about this application, about this operating system, just by them surfing to the website that I've set up for phishing. I don't have to capture credentials. I don't have to exploit their box. I know everything I need to know about their browser, right? So the cool thing is that once the Java plugin is enabled or triggered by a Java application, the request for that application actually comes from the Java process. And the Java process has a different user agent. So when I see this come across, or this come across, or this come across inside of my web logs, guess what I do? I have this wonderful dynamic application for phishing that says, oh, you're running this vulnerable version of Java? I will send you this exploit. It's really simple. What do you do on the defender side? Anything that is an outdated version of Java, block it at the proxy. Done, right? So this is a lot less effective these days because Java is basically blocked in every single browser. But the mindset is still the same. Start thinking about how an attacker sees things and focus on that dirt road, going to the point where you can make effective protections at a smaller scale that work better. So that's what I see. And if they never see that, then we're great. Anyone ever see this before? You just click run? Okay, cool. Yay, more trolls. Where were the trolls in the other talks? Like, did you guys just find my talk and go, oh yeah, we're going to do this?
You're our leader.
Approved. So this is what I used to talk about is blocking at the proxy, because that was the user agent still goes across just fine inside of the proxy logs for SSL traffic. So the great thing is that now that it's competitive, we even gave badges. How much does badges cost? Nothing. It happened on the first quarter that we instituted this program. Thousands across the entire company. Thousands. Do you know how many happened after the was like one-to-one local host or host-based only for your VirtualBox or whatever? All it did was every quarter, it did a password audit using the RockU list. If your password was in the RockU list, you got an email warning saying that your account was going to be locked out within a day if you didn't change it, the password. So anyone who had the password in the RockU list or in the RockU plus rules list, they got a notification saying they had 24 hours to change their password or their password or their account would be locked. And this VM would automatically lock them out after a day if they didn't respond or didn't change it. So it did redump and assessed it. This is crazy awesome. So guess what? When I'm on a pen test or doing a red team assessment and I dump your domain controller and not a single one cracks, guess what is going through my mind as a psychology piece? I did something wrong. Not your passwords are great, because no one's passwords are ever great. I did something wrong. So I am going to stress out trying to fix my cracking tool to fix it so that I can actually get a password to dump or a password to crack. And then when I finally get one, I'll be like, oh, it's good. But if you can get inside the head of your attackers and screw with them, that's the best defense. Before I get to the evil canary stuff where I'm talking more about that, I'm going to get into the authenticating splash proxy. One of the cool things about this is the psychology of it. So, in the company I used to work for, if you were the first person on the first day of the month to come into the company and start your work, you would see this at google.com. Wait, google.com is blocked? Why is google.com blocked? Okay, and then you'd say, don't worry, this could be the first time today someone's attempted to go here. Click on the unblock to allow this through. Unblock is red. Block is green. We all click green buttons automatically. This is great. This block button actually does absolutely nothing. It's a placebo effect. It makes you feel better that you didn't go to a website. It basically just hits back. Unblock is red. So the other cool portion of this is that, that's not up here for some reason, is on the actual splash page, it says, for the entire company. So if I go to expletive website about bad things that humans do together in a natural way, .gov. That's whitehouse.gov, right? Ooh, bad joke. So if I go to that website and this pops up, the crazy thing that goes through users' minds and your mind is like, do I really want to allow this for the entire company? No, I do not, right? Because now they have a log. Now it's visceral. Now it's in their face saying that I as a proxy admin, have a log of you allowing bad website to go here. The insane piece about this is that it works, that you have less infections because of it. Why? Because I don't know of a piece of malware on the planet that can click a button. Meterpreter can't do it. Empire can't do it. Cobalt Strike can't do it. All of the other pieces of malware, Poison Ivy can't do it. Like, there isn't malware that can click a flash-based button. So guess what? Your users can click anything they want, and it's not going to get allowed through unless it's going to a valid website that someone's already gone to before and said, yes, go there. The insane thing about this is, the cool thing about this is that most people who do phishing, so I set up bad website, evilphishingwebsite.com. I'm not an idiot, at least in most people's minds. I'm not an idiot that will set up my command and control on the same box because I don't want, if they catch the phishing website, to block my command and control. Well, guess what? The user might click on saying, yes, allow this through to their phishing website if you're really good at phishing. But guess what? Once they have code execution, they can't get to the other website because the malware can't click the button. Now, this doesn't help you if you allow SSH outbound. It doesn't help you if you allow 21 outbound. It doesn't help you if you allow all the ports outbound that most universities and colleges do, right? This can only help once you have strict egress filtering rules to only allow it go through the proxy. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah, we're tired, Rob. Stop talking and just get off the stage. How am I doing on time? Decent? Okay. Minutes? Ouch. Okay, so evil canaries. This is my favorite part of the talk. So this is all about how I got caught. How many pen testers talk about how they get caught? The reason why they don't? Yeah, BS. The reason they don't is because it's a reputation thing, right? If I get a reputation about as being a pen tester who gets caught all the time, no one's going to hire me, right? I mean, the people who are or learn and are open to it will, but I get less stuff coming in. But one of the coolest ones that I had, and this is why it's the first one, was they made a domain admin temp account on the domain. Due tomorrow in CCDC or tonight in CCDC. Domain admin temp. Inside of the description, it said, here's the password for it. Temporary password for domain admin. What I didn't look at is what hours it was allowed to log in. 0. So when I first got this, I was on the test, I was like, awesome. Description says the password, try it out. Authentication successful. It works. Oh my God. Good. So I started using it everywhere. The system administrator who set this up sent an email alert anytime this account was being used to send him an email that it was used. He got like 400 emails. But this is how you catch attackers. Make it tempting. Make it exciting for them to get something, and you'll see how easy it gets caught. And then the cool thing is there's very little false positives. How many times do you think a regular user is going to look at a description of a domain admin and go, I'm going to try that out? Every day. The other one that pissed me off was this Password Audit 2014 one. So there was a share called Password Audit 2014 on the network. First thing I did on the test. As soon as I got a show, looked at the Password Audit share, I'm like, we're good. Logged into it, opened it up, it was good. I was like, yes! There was an Excel document that says, so it had everyone deny on it, permission. Does anyone know in Windows what an everyone deny rule does? Even if your system? It overrides everything else. So system has a couple ways to get around this, but it's not some things that you normally think of. So if I'm an admin or even a standard user, I cannot see the permissions on this folder or the file. It doesn't even allow me to see that it has an everyone deny on it. So guess what I did? Me as an attacker, I went and said, okay, I'm going to open this file. Double click. Access denied. Double click. Access denied. Okay, let me access it using SMB client. Access denied. Let me try it with this other user. Access denied. Let me try it with this other user. Access denied. Crap! So I tried it with every user that I had. Guess how many false positives this creates? 0. If someone is looking for this file and opens it, they have bad intentions, even if it's accidental, even if it's an insider. Oops, sorry. Okay. The backup database one was hilarious too. So in this one, there was a guy who we actually hired because we didn't want to have him defending against us anymore. He set up a computer called Backup Database. So the first thing we did on the test was look at this backup database. It had a very outdated version of MySQL on Windows. That's what the default is on MySQL. It said authentication successful, and then dumped me back to my prompt. Like, what? Hold on, wait. So all it ever did was say successfully returned? And it didn't do anything else. So you could authenticate as any user on the planet, and it would just dump you back, disconnect you. That's it. He removed one DLL from this thing, and it was just a Raspberry Pi or something. It was so annoying. Any web developers in the room? So this web developer thought it was hilarious because he would get scanned by these Vuln scans every so often, and he hated it because then he'd have to fix like SQL